In this video, we're going to learn how to use base blocks to multiply integers and then connect that to the formal algorithm that you probably learned when you were younger. Okay, so first, we're going to use the area model, and it says draw the outline of the rectangle that represents the multiplication problem 14 times 23 on the grid below. Okay, so I'm noticing, and you should notice that these big squares are each 10 units by 10 units. So you could think of this as a flat. Okay, so if I want 14 times 23, this is 20 in length. So I'm going to do 14 this way. So there's 10, and that's kind of hard to see, but I think that's about 14, and 23 this way. Okay, and I'm going to label these in just a minute. So 23, so this is 10 here to here, 10 here to here, and there's 3, which gives us 23. And 14, we have 10 this way, and 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. So now let's make, actually I should say this is 4, and the total is 14. So now let's make a rectangle. And 14 times 23, like we saw before, is equal to the area inside this rectangle. And notice we have a whole bunch of little squares, and those are our unit squares. Each one of those is 1, and we could count them all up. Okay, I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want to count these all up, but we can think of a more systematic, quicker way to do this. Okay, so we're going to use the ideas of flats and rods and units like we used in previous videos. So you have this on your next page, and we're going to fill this out in a minute, but I'm going to go back to our picture. Okay, so notice I have one full flat here and one full flat here. Okay, so this is a flat and this is a flat. So just in case you're not sure what I mean, there's one flat. It's 10 by a 10, which is 100. And here's a flat. So we have two flats. Okay. Now let's think about these as rods, because notice this is 1 in width and this goes down 10. So this would be a rod, which is worth 10. So there's 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a total of, write the numbers here, let's write them in red, 4 rods here, 4 rods here, and 3 rods here. So 4 plus 4 plus 3, which is 11 in total rods. And now here we need to count these as units because we can't make rods or flats out of these. And notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 units. So let's fill this in on the chart. We have 2 flats. We had 11 rods, and we had 12 units. Now we're going to want to regroup these like we did before. So remember, if we have 10 of any one quantity, we want to regroup it into one of the next large quantity, next size quantity. So we could think of this as 10 units and 2 units, and we're going to take the 10 units and make that a rod. Okay, so now we have 12 rods, and we need to regroup that again. This would be 10 rods plus 2 rods. Well, 10 rods is equal to 1 flat. So in total, we have 3 flats. Notice there was 2 rods after we regrouped, and there was 2 units after we regrouped. So now that we've regrouped, all of these numbers are less than 10, and we know 3 flats, 2 rods, and 2 units is the number 322. So our product is 322. Okay. Now, that's a lot of work to find the product, okay? But let's see how this connects to the idea of an algorithm. Okay. So first we're going to start with the extended algorithm. We want to multiply 14 times 23. Okay, I put the little dot here. You could also put an X there for multiplication, whichever one you want to use. Okay. Now remember, let me draw a little picture here. When we broke down our area, we had 2 flats here, so this is 23, this is 14. We had 3 rods here, we had 2 groups of 4 rods here, and we had 12 ones. Okay, so now we're going to connect this to how we can multiply these. So we're going to use the extended algorithm, which is a little bit longer, but it's going to show how the values we get when we multiply connect to this. So first, here we have 3 ones times 4 ones. Well, that would be 12 ones, and I'm just going to write 12. And that comes from this piece right here. So let's highlight that so it corresponds. So the 4 times 3 was this 4 times this 3, which is 12 ones. Okay. Now next I'm going to multiply this 3 by this 1, but remember this 1 represents a 10. So this is 3 ones times 10, which is 30, or 3 rods. So I'm going to write 30. Well, this 30 corresponds to these 3 rods. So the 3 times the 10 gives us 3 rods. Next, we're going to multiply this 2, which stands for 20, times this 4, which is 4 ones. And 2 times 4 is 8, but since it's 20 times 4, this is 80. And notice that's the 2 tens right here, the 20 times the 4. We get 80 right here. So these 8 rods correspond to this 80. And finally, 2 times 1, well, this is 20 times 10, which 20 times 10 is 200. That's the 10 times the 20, which is the 2 flats. So we have 200. So this 200 corresponds to these 2 flats. And then we're going to add them all together. Okay, so we're adding because we're finding all these little areas, then we're combining them together to find the total area. So adding, we have 2. This is 4 and 8 is 12. So that's 2 carry the 1. And we have 322, which was our original result. Okay. Now, over time, people got tired of writing all of these steps, as people so frequently do. So let's see how we can streamline this, and you'll probably remember this. So this is the standard algorithm, and we say that's the typical way you were probably taught how to do this when you were younger. So 4 times 3 is 12, and we put down the 2 and we carry the 1. Okay. So remember, this is 12 ones, so what we're doing when we carry the 1 is we're going to say now we're going to multiply 3 ones times 1, 10, that's 30, and we're going to add on this 1, which gives us 4. So notice these 2 added together are 42, and now we've done that in one line. Now we move on to the next line. You'll probably remember you put a placeholder here, a 0, and the reason is now you're multiplying by 20, but instead of thinking of multiplying by 20, you can just put a 0 here and multiply by 2, and multiplying by 20 is 10 times as large as multiplying by 2. So now we have 2 times 4 is 8, so I'm going to put the 8 here, and that's where this 80 is from. And then we'll do 2 times 1 is 2. Well, that's this 200. So now in this one line we have these 2, 280. Now we add them up, and we have 2, 12, carry the 1, and 322. Okay. So we developed the idea of the standard algorithm, why we do these steps the way we do, and how they relate to this original area model.